Major General Mohammed Tomba and the accompanying delegation. More details with Jamal Silmani.
Earlier, the Interior Minister, Mr. Said Sayud, received Mr. Tumba, accompanied by a high-level delegation as part of the dynamic development of Algerian-Niger relations, according to a statement from the ministry. The visit reflects President Abdelmadjid Tebboun's instructions to strengthen Algeria-Niger relations and coordination, especially in security and shared interests. The meeting reaffirmed the strategic nature of ties and discussed expanding cooperation in security, migration, control, border development, civil protection, training, and expertise exchange. On the occasion, Mr. Sayud welcomed the Niger Interior Minister and delegation, stressing the strong fraternal ties and Algeria's commitment to strengthening bilateral cooperation. In the same regard, the Minister of Energy and Renewable Energies, Mourad Adjel, has received the Minister of Energy of the Republic of Niger, Amadou Hawa, with whom he examined ways and means of strengthening bilateral cooperation and expanding partnership prospects between the two countries in the energy sector. During the meeting, Mr. Adjel reviewed cooperation and the Sonalgas power plant in Niger, completed in record time alongside priorities such as network rehabilitation, digital restructuring, and training. Ms. Amadou, for her part, hailed the project's rapid completion and reaffirmed Niger's commitment to strengthening energy cooperation with Algeria. The meeting at the Ministry of Energy in the presence of senior officials reflects President Abdelmadjid Tebboun's directives to strengthen Algeria's African presence and cooperation for development and integration.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Cooperation and Nigerians Abroad of the Republic of Niger, Bakari Yao Sangari, has welcomed here in Algiers the accelerated pace of implementation of the bilateral agreements signed during the meeting of the Algerian-Niger High Joint Commission held in Niamey last March. The Niger official made the following statement after the meeting granted to him by the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmadjid Tebboune.
We
welcome the acceleration and the way in which the projects are being implemented. Secondly, we welcome the expansion of the scope of cooperation as we are currently exploring new areas of collaboration. The third phase consists of establishing a regular follow-up mechanism, which is why we reported to the President. He gave us advice and asked us to convey his thanks to his brother, Army General Abdurrahman Tiani.
That was the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Cooperation and Nigerians Abroad of the Republic of Niger, Bakari Yao Sangari. The Minister Delegate to the Minister of National Defense and Chief of Staff of the People's National Army, Army General Said Chengriha, on the second day of his visit to the 5th Military Region, supervised the execution of 2 tactical exercises, naval and air, in the Eastern Maritime Front. The President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmadjid Tebboune, has received the General Khalifa of the Tijaniya Order in Senegal, Sheikh Mohammed Al-Mahi Ibrahim Niass, and the delegation accompanying him. The General Khalifa praised Algeria's prominent role in supporting the just causes of Muslims around the world and in spreading the teachings of Islam across the African continent.
Algeria has given a masterful lesson to the entire world in defending the homeland, freedom, Islam, and Muslims in all parts of the world. We love Algeria, both during its great revolution and after it, because it provides us with what we need in terms of education, books, and resources for the development of Islamic culture and education in Africa. We know, recognize, and value its important contribution to the spread of Islam and Islamic culture in Africa and in our schools, where we try to reach a high level of Islamic education, given that Islam is what can preserve humanity. And this is the secret of the success of Sufism and the success of the Tijaniya Brotherhood in Africa. The Tijaniya order, founded here, has rendered great service to Islam. More than 400 million Muslims belong to this brotherhood. Therefore, it is a path of religion and knowledge, not a path of heresy, as some claim. It is a path that brings the human being closer to his Creator, so that he may know Him. And if he knows God, he will know how to worship Him.
That was the General Khalifa of the Tijaniya Sufi order in Senegal, Sheikh Mohammed Al-Mahi Ibrahim Nias. The Minister of State, Minister of Hydrocarbons, Mohammed Arkab, has received the Director General of the Spanish company Arflu, Songasa or Gonzaga Fernandez, accompanied by a delegation of company executives. The meeting, held in the presence of ministry officials, examined cooperation between Sonatrach Group and the Arflu in the oil and gas and seawater desalination equipment, and discussed localizing production in Algeria, strengthening local content, and enhancing technology transfer and technical support. Mr. Arkab stressed the importance of industrial partnerships to develop the national industrial base, promote local integration, and ensure technology transfer in line with President Abdelmajid Tebboun's instructions, while Arflu presented its expertise and expressed interest in strengthening its presence in Algeria through long-term partnership and investment projects. The Minister of Industry, Yahya Bashir, has received the Belarusian Deputy Minister of Industry, Denis Beke, and his accompanying delegation as part of the continuation of efforts to implement the outcomes of previous meetings and strengthen bilateral cooperation between Algeria and Belarus in the industrial and economic fields. The meeting reviewed Algeria-Belarus cooperation in agriculture, mechanization, and gain silos, and discussed accelerating projects and strengthening industrial partnerships. Both sides discussed expanding cooperation in mechanical industries and equipment, stressing technology transfer and expertise exchange, and reaffirmed their commitment to coordination to turn bilateral consultations into concrete industrial projects reflecting Algeria-Belarus relations. The Cap Blanc or Cap Blanc seawater desalination plant in Oran, affiliated with the Algerian Company for Water Desalination, a Sonatrach subsidiary, ranked second in the Global Water Awards 2026 for the best seawater desalination projects of the year, held during the World Water Summit in Madrid. According to a statement from the company, the award reflects the international recognition of Algeria's progress in seawater desalination and strategic water infrastructure. The Cap Blanc plant in Oran ranked second among 10 finalists after strong global competition, highlighting the efforts of the Algerian Company for Water Desalination and its partners to strengthen national water security during the World Water Summit from May 18th to May 20th, which gathered over 80 countries and 1,200 CEOs in the water sector. The Sahrawi people are commemorating today in the occupied territories and refugee camps, as well as within the diaspora, the 53rd anniversary of the launch of their armed struggle, a decisive milestone in the history of their fight for independence and an opportunity to reaffirm their unwavering commitment to the legitimate and the legitimate right to self-determination under the leadership of the Polisario Front. More details with Jamal Silmani.
The anniversary comes as the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic continues to consolidate its presence at regional and international levels, thanks to diplomatic and legal victories, political achievements, and a broad national consensus around the objectives of the Popular Front for the liberation of Sari al-Hamra and Rio de Oro, against a backdrop of condemnation of the violations committed by the Moroccan occupation against the Sahrawi people. The outbreak of the armed struggle on the 20th of May 1973 reflects the conviction of the Sahrawi people in the justice of their cause and marked their break with a period of colonial domination. On that day, the Sahrawis had decided, under the leadership of the Polisario Front, the sole and legitimate representative of the Sahrawi people, to take up arms to secure their independence from the occupation, first Spanish and then against Morocco, which had invaded the Sahrawi territories in 1975. On that historic date, a group of Sahrawis decided to attack the Spanish outpost at El Khanga, east of the town of Smara. This operation marked the start of the armed struggle in Western Sahara, following the resolutions adopted 10 days earlier On the 10th of May, at the Constitutive Congress of the Polisario Front, which had declared in its founding document that freedom will be won by force of arms. These events marked a turning point in the history of the Sahrawi cause, contributing to internal unity and the diversification of forms of political, diplomatic, and military struggle, and also drew the international community's attention to the issue and destabilized the Spanish colonial administration, ultimately forcing it to withdraw from the territory, thus paving the way for new expansionist ambitions. During the war years, Sahrawi forces stepped up their operations, launching attacks on Moroccan military positions and bases. This prompted Morocco to build the sand wall, stretching for thousands of kilometers and equipped with mines and fortifications, though this did not prevent the Sahrawi army from continuing its operations in parallel with diplomatic efforts that led Morocco to accept the UN peace plan providing for a ceasefire and the organization of a referendum on self-determination. Morocco's breach of the ceasefire, in particular the intervention by its forces on the 13th of November 2020 against peaceful civilian demonstrators in the Gergeret buffer zone, led the Sahrawi leadership to announce on the 14th of November the resumption of armed struggle in order to protect its people and continue the fight until the complete liberation of the occupied territories. This anniversary also provides an opportunity to renew calls for a political solution to the Western Sahara conflict, in accordance with the United Nations resolutions guaranteeing the right of the Sahrawi people to self-determination. Furthermore, the international community continues its tireless efforts through the United Nations mission for the referendum in Western Sahara, MINURSO, and the initiatives of the UN Special Envoy to revive the political process.
The Palestinian Ministry of Religious Affairs condemned the Israeli occupying authorities for illuminating the walls of the Ibrahimi Mosque with the Zionist flag and Hebrew slogans, coinciding with the holding of noisy celebrations in its courtyards. The Palestinian Ministry described this action as a blatant attack on the sanctity of the mosque and the feelings of all Muslims. In a statement, the ministry affirmed that the Ibrahimi Mosque is a purely Islamic endowment and that no rights to it belong to non-Muslims. It asserted that all the occupations, practices, and Judaization measures within the mosque and its courtyards are null and void and illegitimate under international law. It called upon the international community and human rights organizations to intervene urgently to stop the ongoing violations against Islamic holy sites. UN spokesperson Stéphane Dujarric has stressed that expanding healthcare services within Gaza remains a top priority at present, which requires facilitating the entry of vital equipment. Dujarric noted that 20 patients had been evacuated from Gaza via the Rafah crossing.
20 patients and over 40 of their companions were medically evacuated through the Rafah crossing with support of the World Health Organization and its partners. As a reminder, thousands of people still need medical services that are unavailable in Gaza. Once referrals to the West Bank resume, including East Jerusalem, more patients will be able to access care. Meanwhile, scaling up health services within Gaza remains a top priority, which requires facilitating the entry of critical equipment. Also yesterday, the International Organization for Migration said that in collaboration with local partners, it continued to increase emergency shelter intervention in April using repurposed wood and metal pallets that are used to bring in humanitarian goods into Gaza. You'll recall that about 900,000 people across the Strip remain in need of emergency shelter assistance. At present, partners are managing around a third of the 1,652 sites across the Strip.
The Al-Baydar Human Rights Organization said that Zionist Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich's decision to evacuate the Khan al-Ahmar Bedouin community, East Jerusalem, constitutes a declaration of war against the Palestinian people and a new step in the annexation project aimed at fragmenting the occupied West Bank. More details with Jamal Silmani.
In a statement, the Al-Baydar organization, a Palestinian non-governmental organization dedicated to defending the legal, social and cultural rights of Bedouin communities, said that remarks by the extremist minister represent some of the most extreme and explicit Israeli positions in their political objectives. It further heightened that these statements are not merely reactions to international pressure, but rather reflect a systematic strategy led by the right-wing Zionist government aimed at undermining the Palestinian presence politically, geographically, and legally, and accelerating annexation and displacement policies in the West Bank, in the occupied West Bank. Al-Baidar emphasized that the decision to evacuate Khan al-Ahmar is not an isolated administrative measure, but a step with dangerous strategic dimensions due to the community's location east of Jerusalem in an area linking the northern and southern West Bank. The organization warned that its demolition would contribute to the expansion of settlements in the colonial area known as E1, leading to the geographical fragmentation of the West Bank and undermining the possibility of establishing a contiguous Palestinian state. It also warned that the continuation of such policies without effective international action could lead to accelerated de facto annexation, the displacement of Palestinian communities, and hampering efforts for the two-state solution and the imposition of a permanent apartheid reality. Al-Baidar called for the adoption of a unified Palestinian strategy, strengthening resilience on the ground, and intensifying legal and diplomatic efforts alongside a firm international stance and imposing sanctions against officials advocating forced displacement and greater protection for threatened communities.
Spanish Culture Minister Ernest Urtasun announced the Spanish government supports actor Javier Bardem and other artists who have faced censorship and attacks due to their support for Palestine and their condemnation of the genocide being perpetrated by Israeli occupier in Gaza. He made these remarks to reporters following the weekly meeting of the Spanish government in the capital, Madrid. Urtasun referred to reports that Bardem had been placed on what has been described as a Hollywood blacklist because of his public stance against the war in Gaza, along with other artists including Susan Sarandon and Mark Ruffalo. As the World Health Organization has warned of the scale and speed of the Ebola outbreak, which is already being or believed to have claimed more than 130 lives, now spreading in the east of the Democratic Republic of the Congo and could last to the Congolese President Felix Tshisekedi has called on the public to remain calm in the face of the spread of the Ebola pandemic. More details with Jamal Silmani.
The Congolese president held a crisis meeting at the African Union city in Kinshasa, dedicated to the evolving health situation in certain areas of the provinces of North Kivu and Ituri. The Congolese president has instructed the government to immediately implement all necessary measures to strengthen the health response. The Congolese authorities are continuing coordination and surveillance operations to contain the spread of the epidemic in the affected areas. The previous report from the Congolese Ministry of Health cited an estimated 131 deaths and 513 suspected cases. The African Union's health agency has declared a continental public health emergency to tackle the Ebola outbreak affecting the Democratic Republic of Congo and Uganda. The WHO also issued an international alert on Sunday in response to the Ebola outbreak, its second highest alert level. Ebola causes a highly contagious hemorrhagic fever. The virus has claimed more than 15,000 lives in Africa over the past 50 years. The new Ebola outbreak in the DRC has triggered an international search for vaccines and treatments that can be rapidly tested and deployed in an attempt to contain this health crisis. Why this is the 17th outbreak in the DRC of this virus, which kills between a third and a half of those infected. It is only the third caused by Bundibugyo strain, for which there is neither vaccine nor an approved treatment.
And now with our last report, Algeria has won 5 prizes at the World Competition of Artificial Intelligence AI, Programming and Robotics Designed for Children, held in Jakarta, Indonesia. More details with Jamal Silmani.
These include the prize for girls in science and technology, an encouragement prize in the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Challenge, an encouragement prize in the Football Robotics Challenge, an excellent prize for Best Robot Design, 5th World ranking in the Football Robotics Challenge, and an Excellence Prize for Best Robot Design. In a regulatory message, the Minister of Knowledge Economy, Startups and Micro-Enterprises, Nuruddin Waddah, said the achievement reflects the ability of Algerian youth to excel in innovation and technology, while also praising the work of the startup Al Jazairi Robotics in supporting and monitoring participants, while the Cutover 7.0 AI programming and robotics competition in Jakarta, bringing together over 300,000 young people from 70 countries. In the same regard, the Minister of Posts and Telecommunications, Sidi Ali Zarouki, and Mr. Waddah presided here in Algiers over the opening of the event Algeria in the Era of Artificial Intelligence, organized by a national startup. In a speech, Mr. Zarouki said, the postal and telecommunications sector is fully engaged in building Algeria's digital infrastructure, now a leader in Africa, highlighting support for startups and praising innovative entrepreneurs for creating wealth jobs and digital solutions to modern technological challenges. The event highlighted the importance of combining efforts between decision makers, economic actors, experts and startups to ensure national digital sovereignty, with Algerie Telecom sponsoring it as part of its support for national expertise and high-value local initiatives, and the launch of the AI-based Riposte platform for strategic monitoring, social listening and digital reputation management.
You have been listening to Radio Algeria International. Thank you. Stay tuned.
Hello and welcome, dear listeners, of the new weekly program Technoverse and the Science Planet on the waves of Radio Algeria International. Every week, we will take you on a journey into discoveries, innovations, and all what is related to science and technologies that are shaping our world and our future. Today, we begin with one of the most fascinating and most debated subjects of our time, artificial intelligence, or simply AI. When people hear artificial intelligence, they often picture humanoid robots that talk, walk, and act like human beings. But AI is much more than that. At its core, artificial intelligence is the ability of machines to carry out tasks that normally demand human intelligence. This ranges from understanding and generating language, to recognizing images and sounds, to making decisions, solving problems, and even learning from experience. In simple terms, AI is when computers move beyond rigid step-by-step instructions given by human beings and begin to analyze, adapt, and improve by itself, almost like a brain made of code. Unlike traditional software and programs that can only do what they are told, AI can refine itself through patterns and data, getting smarter with every interaction. Some AI systems are narrow, designed for one specific purpose, such as recommending a movie, translating between languages, or detecting tumors in a medical scan. But researchers are also working towards general AI, a far more ambitious goal of creating systems that can reason, plan, and learn across many different domains, much like the flexible intelligence of humans. AI may feel like a brand new invention, but the idea has been with us for decades. Back in the 1950s, the British mathematician Alan Turing asked his famous question, "Can machines think?" That single question sparked a scientific quest that continues to this day. In the early years, researchers built programs that could play chess or solve basic math problems. Exciting at first, but progress soon slowed. And for a while, many believed AI was just a dream that might never come true. Then came faster computers, the rise of the internet, and mountains of digital data. Suddenly, the dream had fuel and AI leapt forward. Today we have systems like ChatGPT that can write human-like texts, image recognition tools that can spot a face in a crowd, and medical AI that can even help doctors detect diseases earlier than ever. What once belonged to the world of science fiction has now stepped firmly into the world of science fact, and it's advancing faster than anyone could have ever imagined. Whether you notice it or not, artificial intelligence is already part of your everyday life. When you unlock your smartphone with your face, it's AI recognizing your unique features in a fraction of a second. When Google Maps steers you away from traffic and finds the quickest route, it's AI analyzing millions of data points in real time. When Netflix, YouTube, or Spotify recommend what you might enjoy next, that's AI studying your habits and predicting your choices. And it goes beyond entertainment and convenience. In hospitals, AI is helping doctors read X-ray and medical scans, often spotting details invisible to the human eye and giving patients a better chance at early treatment. In finance, AI detects suspicious transactions to protect against fraud. Even in agriculture, farmers are using AI-powered systems to monitor crops and improve harvests. So AI isn't just about futuristic robots in science labs. It's a silent partner working in the background, making daily life easier, faster, safer, and more connected than ever before. In a remarkably short time, artificial intelligence has delivered breakthroughs that shocked even its creators. In 2016, AlphaGo, a program built by Google's DeepMind, defeated the world champion in the board game Go, a game so complex experts thought it would take decades before machines